Today we're going to work on putting together the Alaskan 36-inch Mark IV mill for the chainsaw bars of 36 inches or less from Granberg. I got this chainsaw mill for my 36-inch chainsaw because I got a bunch of logs out back that I got to get cut up. Might as well cut them up into something we could use. So right off the bat, we count and sort out all of our pieces, and this one has 5 extra washers, an extra nut, and an extra bolt. So I'm going to slide those aside just to make sure that they're extra. I'm not going to throw them away, but I'm just going to put them off to the side. And I use that by checking out the front sheet, which tells everything you're going to need. Basically, you're going to do this twice, but there's this. And so if we put it the way it is in the diagram, this piece is facing, the opening is facing this side of it. You're going to use 2 of these bolts with 2 lock washers. And there you go. In your lock washers. I like to get mine started before I start using a wrench on it. And it supplies an Allen wrench to work with it. We're not going to tighten this down all the way. We're just going to get it down to touch the lock washers, and we're going to stop. Alright, and I'm going to assemble the other one, and it says it assembles exactly the same way. And there's the first 2 pieces assembled. I'm going to slide those off to the sides. So it says we're going to start working on the handle now. So here's the handle. We're going to need this small T-slot piece, this piece, and it says we're going to need 2 T-nuts. These are going to slide into here, and we're going to go to these first 2 holes here. The front one is going to get one of these hex, the handle, which also goes to the back side here, like so, and it gets a lock washer. Lock washer, the nut, lock washer, and the hex. Again, I'm not tightening these all the way down. Now, it's giving you this wrench, which is, I call it chainsaw bar wrench. That'll work on this just fine, which is perfect when you're out in the bush and you're cutting stuff up. You got a wrench that'll, if you got to adjust anything, you can do it. But I'm in my shop, and I'm going to grab a ratcheting wrench to be able to do this with, because I think I can do it a little bit faster with it. These 2 long tracks here, spreader bars, a T-nut on this one, about the middle of it, same as this one, and it goes into this slot here, and it gets a washer and a hex nut on this one. And on the front side, this one just gets a nut on it. Got this one going on this side, this one on this side. We're going to square this thing up a little bit. 2 T-nuts down here, 2 T-nuts over here. We're going to get a T-nut, square that up with that corner, and then it gets a washer and a nut. Same thing on this side, T-nut, a T-nut, and then these 2 nuts go with it, or T-nut, it's T-bolt, and a nut that goes on top. Oh, so look at there, forgot the washer. I'm worried about what I'm calling this thing. Washer, washer, let me get a nut for it. And you see that they're both facing the same way, your grooves are going the same way, and then we're going to tighten this thing down. I'm not going to tighten it down all the way, just enough to get it. Still moves a little bit, not enough for me, in case I got to adjust this thing. Same thing for down here. All I'm trying to do is keep it square on the corners here. And I'm going to lightly tighten it down. But I believe I put these on backwards. So, we're going to back this thing up. I think it'd be easier to take these off, flip it around. Mistakes were made. It's not about the mistakes. It's how you learn from them. Based off that, now it's running the right way. I'm going to slide this right on through. Alright, now we got that through here. I'll tighten this one down a little bit. Alright, so this bar goes through here. I hold it in place. Now we got these U-bolts, and we'll get 4 of these. A washer for each one, 4 washers. We'll fit this like this, and this U-bolt will go through here, just like so. And it goes on the opposite end, so it goes just like this. It fits through these 2 holes, then it gets a washer on each side, then 2 of these nuts, and obviously you don't want to get it too tight. And then you're going to repeat that same process on the other side. Through the hole, put a washer on each side. This one goes on the outside and one will go on the inside like that first one was. So I'm only just putting them till it just kind of pokes through the end of the nut there. I know the next part, it's got to go in it, but we got to put some stuff together first. So we're going to slide this out of the way for a second, and we're going to bring out one of these. And it's got measurements down the side of it, and this one that's got the wings on it. One doesn't have it, which is here, and one does have it, which is here. So you gotta be kidding me. Well, Power went out last night, so now we're going to continue this assembly. And just what happens in the country. When the power goes out, the power goes out. So we got this bar here that's got the wings on it. This one does not. It's going to go with the one that does not. Okay, easy way to match that up. So this is going to go through with a bolt and a washer. The steel plate's going to be in between with the nut on the back side of it. We'll push this through, and it is going to thread into. Same thing with this one. And that steel plate is where your bar will be for your chainsaw, and that's what's going to pinch it, hold it in place. All right, we're going to pull this one aside, and of course this one's going to be closest to you, basically like this, closest to you. Chainsaw here coming through, and that allows you to line up on it there. Okay, so we know we got this one. Now what will go on this one, and I should have put it on ahead of time, we'll do it like this. I'll take this back off. This is your safety guard. So if you're on the blade side of it, you don't stick your hand on it. And you have to push this in just a little bit. And there's that one. So basically you're looking at this. There we go. So kind of adjust your depth, or gives you a gauge to go by for your depth. I'm going to set it at 4 right now. But this, you want the measurements to be facing with it to the inside of this. That's going to line up with the edge of this piece right here. Now I'm going to put this through here. Like I said, I'm going to take it down to 4. This one, we're going to do the same thing. Bring it down to 4. All right, there it is, all assembled. Now it's got the plugs right here. All right, so I pulled out all the pieces here. This manual is a lot less descriptive. That's a nice way to put it. I don't think the same gentleman wrote this manual as wrote the first one. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so at the very beginning of the manual, while they're telling you all the parts, there's a key little piece of instructions that's hidden in there, and I'm going to walk you through that. You're going to set that set screw up first, which is this only black screw that they got to it. And same size. This is the Allen wrench they provide, and I can put it on with that one. It's just I can't get enough torque with this one. It's pretty tight. I want to get it started. I've already paved the way for the threads. I looked down in the hole, and I looked just before it pokes its head through. It's almost stopped. You have these 2 neoprene washers. You're going to put one on the top, one on the bottom. And we're going to slide those in here in the centerpiece, and then we're going to set it all on the ground. I'm going to run this pin to let it run all the way to the ground. As there's a set point right there, I'm going to try to line up with that set screw. There we go. Now it fell in that hole, so I can screw it in for a little bit. All right, so that's in there. That gives you a spring. The spring goes over this plastic. I was going to screw into the top of this. This is supposed to be kind of like a drag. When you're bait casting, you get your drag on bait cast, slows that wheel down a little bit. 2 brackets here, this one and this one. We want this one because it's going to go over top of that square port of that piece of that thing. And then we're going to put a washer, 14 cap nut they call it. We call it acorn nut. And you should be able to use the big side. Nope, of course not. So I'm going to have to get a wrench, tighten that down, make sure it's nice and tight. And then you got, I don't send the Allen wrench for that one either. Got a nut in the bottom, or a bolt in the bottom of this. It's got to come out. I understand now. It doesn't get this ball on it, even though it came with it that way. Should get a washer in between there, and then so you got a washer, another washer, and a nut. And again, we don't have that Allen wrench. The Allen wrench that came with the other set ain't it. They literally didn't give you the parts, the tools for this one, so you got to have your own tools. I'll be right back with my own tools. So just so you know, it's 6mm, which they don't provide. It definitely tells this second set was outsourced. All right, and then this cap nut here, we're going to tighten it down too, just so it's not wobbly. There we go. I'm going to loosen up this. We should be able just to turn that free-wheelie. All right, take the T-nut off. So we're going to add these 2, and then we're going to add this one back. The opened end face goes this way, lock washers. And then we're going to have these 2 longer hex head that go on down here. And these hex heads are different sizes. Good God. It seemed like it'd match it up with the existing set. I'll get a wrench for that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on. Alright, so I've locked all that back in. I wanted to see if that was gonna clear that bar. I'm hoping that wrench will fit down in there. I used a number 11 or a 1/4 inch ratchet. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take loose that one bolt, this one right here. Just slide this one off and this one on. And this one on. Alright, back in there it goes. This one gets locked back down. And I'll show you this thing fully assembled when we get down here. This T-nut or T-bolt in through here, and it's going to get a washer. And then it just screws in this ball right here. So this part here, the T-nut goes to the top, tapered in. So there's that piece there. And they shipped mine with the 2 bolts in it here, but they need to be tightened down. Alright, then you got a T-bolt comes down here with a washer on it and a handle ball on it. So you got this piece that's doubled up for 2 T-nuts, 2 slots. You want to aim down with it like so. 2 washers, last 2 washers, and one of these is going to get a nut on it, and the front one apparently gets a handle on it. And this here is what your carabiner is going to hook to, like so. So this will hook to the end of the log with the screws that are provided.
So at this point, I've lost audio. So we're going to do this with a voiceover. We got to wrap the string from this point, and it'll go from there to a carabiner to back to the rig at that ball that we put it in on the front side. Be sure to put your carabiner on because it only goes on the string side, and then we're going to attach the string side to the winch. I just tie it on there with a simple knot. All the string will be left over the top of the rails and will attach with a loop over top of the ball. Once you have your knot tied around the winch, you can tighten up the string and get it all wound up. It shows the direction on the top, which way to turn it.
Alright, so now I'm going to take the assembly and I'm going to put the, I have a 28-inch blade, I believe. And we'll put it on here, so just to show you how it goes on and how the pinch points work. The motor will go up. Make sure you center this. If not, you'll be more into the travel of the chain. And then when you tighten these 2 down, you want to do it at an even rate. You don't want to pinch one side or the other. So now that you got your front tightened up, we're going to tighten up our back side. Again, make sure you got it lined up in the center points there. And that way we do. There should be no restriction by the chain. Free flowing. So now I'll show you kind of how that bar comes into it. So you thought the end of my bench was the end of the log. See how that ball kind of acts as a fulcrum there. When you're pulling on this, it's going to pull against the log and push against the log this way. And then your carabiner is going to come out and hook to that steel piece there. And then when you can end up pulling, you pull your saw to it. Well, that's all I got on that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please comment down below, like, subscribe. The channel really likes that. And if you have any more questions or anything like that, hit me up down below. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all have a good one now.